All right, it's time for another Office Hours capsule. It's kind of a small section with here on twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/theastropublive on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I'd love to have you come down and watch us and join these captives. I mean, my chat here live while we do things like just yap about Star Citizen, look at Star Citizen lore, news, and more. Today, we'll be focusing on the PU monthly report from July 2024 for Star Citizen. So let's take a look. So as we go through this, I do want to make sure you all know this is not a summary. I'm not going to sit here and give you like a small update on like a kind of a brief overview of everything. This is going to be a complete read through. So get something to drink, get something to eat. This may take anywhere between 30 minutes and an hour. You will need to see down below, obviously. But I've been doing this for years now. So if you're interested, you can always go back and read some of these other monthly reports. But I will try to do some kind of interject a little bit to give you some context on certain things, because some things might be an update from the previous month or kind of a follow-up on from months before. So I'll give you a little bit of running commentary as well. I'm just going to read it to you. PU Monthly Report, July 2024. Welcome to July's PU Monthly Report. With the upcoming Alpha 3.24 patch now live for testing in the PTU, many teams spent the month polishing and bug fixing alongside new tasks for Pyro and beyond. Read on for all the details. Last month, the AI features team worked on a combination of fixes and new functionality, including an issue requiring a usable to have an interactable component. A problem was also solved with stance not being updated, causing an issue with AI exiting cover. This bug was caused by conflicting changes between Squadron 42 and Star Citizen when merging features. The team solved the problems with tactical query system conditions, silently failing without setting results. Which has led to uninitialized memory bugs. For example, when running to the reachable condition, it occasionally returned with a true result when the point was not reachable because the result variable had not been initialized as false.
You can take away my spaceship. You can take away my space suit.
Hold on.
You can even take away my space laser.
Yeah, I keep forgetting I have to do that. Sorry about that. That's my little like alert for YouTube and Twitch and stuff like that. Thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. All right. This was blocking the test of the cover hit reactions test level. Okay. An issue with vision raycasting allowing NPCs to see through buildings was rectified alongside bugs with NPCs using the multi-tool, including one giving them infinite ammunition in repair mode. The team also added dynamic object handling to the vision component to fix vision raycasts and entities from being blocked when doors change states. The handling of situation changes during aimed at events were improved too. I think generally this is just changing how NPCs react depending on what they see. So like the idea of the dynamic object handling into vision component to fix vision raycast and entities from being blocked when doors change states, meaning like an AI would look at a door and it would see a door, and even if the door is open, it would say, there's nothing, I can't see beyond this door. So its vision would stay, it would keep saying, the AI would still think that the door is closed even though it's open. So they would just stare at somebody who is staring across the door at them rather than like, oh, that's an enemy, I should shoot them. And things like aimed at. So I think that's like things like how AI can sometimes panic and run away when you pull up a like a med gun, which shouldn't be. So new functionality was developed to support and restrict movement within assigned schedule combat areas, including being able to set up schedule areas and tags through the editor rather than just through the schedule. This allows for designers to more carefully control fights, giving an AI areas of interest in a similar way to existing tech for defend and attack areas, but on a broader scale. So that's referencing a simple AI logic that they set up earlier for Squadron, which specifically focuses on gosh, how do I put this? Like they will defend an area or attack an area. And so they have logic to attack or defend, but they don't really have a lot of like opposite. They can't like counterattack or anything like that. So they might like patrol a little bit here and there, but they just that's basically what they focus on. With this, it sounds like they're trying to give more flexibility. So the AIs may be in an area and may push and attack a player if they get too close to an area, or defend a little bit more. So a little bit less like binary attack, defend, and more just generally protect this area, if I'm reading this correctly. AI Group Entity allows designers to assign NPC groups. AI Group Entity Component, a runtime component that defines NPC groups that can share knowledge such as perception data. So basically, if an AI sees you, they can tell their friends where you are. AI Group Entity exports group members as a part of an object container data. AI Group Entity, a data forge record. On friendly call to arms herd, an event that brings the rest of the group into combat. Work together. Did I skip something? Yes, I did. So the AI team also added a significant piece of new functionality, AI groups. This enables perception data to be shared between AI within the same group, giving the designers more control however NPCs are brought into fights and how they work together. For this, the team added a variety of entity changes, including what I just said. So yeah, different ways that the AIs can interact with one another when fighting somebody. So elsewhere, the team reviewed and made improvements to how AI use wildlines, including adding new combat communication wildlines, such as surrendering, grenade reactions and throwing, investigation, hit reactions, reloading, and perception reactions. A script was created to check duplicate and unused communication names in pursuit of gold standard wildline setup. Okay. Generally speaking, what this is talking about is they're changing how FPS AI reacts. The tactics of FPS AI. It's mostly what the AI feature seems to be focusing on. AI tech. For AI tech, the team continued working on AI vision and movement systems for server meshing. This will allow NPCs to transition from one server to another without losing their previous context. Various optimizations were made too, including the observable and vision components, and a collision avoidance when NPCs fly ships and drive ground vehicles. Updates were also made to tactical point system queries used by the ship's AI behaviors, allowing AIs to jump between NPCs to jump between servers. Good idea. Art characters. July saw the character art team begin to work on utility armor. They also progressed with specialist armor, supported requests for the character customizer, and worked through the art debt for loot items. Hey, new loot items. That's good. Or fixing loot items. Character concept art team explored new designs for fauna, while hair team progressed with additional hairstyles. Art ships. July saw ship art working towards new milestones for the vehicles currently in production, including the RSI Polaris, Zeus, and 3 unannounced ships. My favorite flavor of ship, because it can be anything. It could even be a ship. Production of 3 new vehicles kicked off, 2 alongside 2 new concepts. This is kind of confusing because CIG will say ships and vehicles, and sometimes a ship is a vehicle. I don't think I'd read too much into that because that's just Xylo writing things down and not maybe even just kind of translating wrong, or just talking, just yapping. So three unannounced ships could be some of those ships could be in fact the ground vehicles, and the 3 new vehicles aren't necessarily 3 new ground vehicles. They could also be ships. So yeah, so that tracks sort of, because we have the Zeus, the Polaris, the Zeus, the 2 Zeuses we have, the ES and the CL, I think. The MR is not coming out until next year. So, and then 3 unannounced ships. So that's 3 ships plus 3 unannounced ships for a total of 6 ships plus 3 new vehicles. So 9 total vehicles in the pipeline currently. Plus, 9 current vehicles in the pipeline. And to clarify this, for people who are like, hey, unannounced ship could be the Perseus. It wouldn't be the Perseus. If they say unannounced ship, it means that it's something they're working on that they haven't announced. They don't say, oh, well, we're working on an unannounced ship, and then it turns out to be, you know, the Zeus MR. That's not how they talk about it. They'll talk about the Zeus MR if they're working on it. Typically, these are ships that could be variants of existing ships they haven't talked about yet, or they could be brand new ships that are concept ships, or ships that are going to be straight to flyable. So it really depends. Community. July began with the community team supporting Foundation Festival 2954, which encouraged experienced players to share their knowledge with newcomers. They also invited players to highlight what makes their organization stand out in the org showcase contest. The team then published several new guides to help players with weapons, master modes, and industrial cargo, and medical careers. In support of the returning Jumptown Global event, the community team collected feedback to improve future events. For Alien Week 2954, the team compiled entries from Xenothreat Smackdown contest into the Alien-themed cookbook. Regular updates were also published for the community, including Roadmap Roundup, This Week in Star Citizen, and the Arena Commander schedule. With CitizenCon 2954 less than 3 months away, community is currently working hard to prepare an unforgettable program of exciting content. The month wrapped up with the Bar Citizen in Washington, D.C. There were 150 attendees gathered, seeing organizations meet in first person meet in person for the first time, and even a new org forming at the event. These gatherings exemplify the spirit of Bar Citizens, with more events anticipated in the future. The team is already looking forward to meeting members of the community at Gamescom in Cologne, and can't wait to kick off 2 Bar Citizens on August 23rd and 24th. CIG community team. Apparently they were playing my one of my lore videos in the background here at one point, which is nice. Thank you, Jake. My famous ships of the UE Navy. So core gameplay. Okay, so this is going to be a long one. This is going to be a very long one. The gameplay features team progressed with a wide variety of features throughout July, beginning with the Charge and Drain. For this, they added networking support for a wider feature, added networking support for bringing unpowered items back to life, implemented weapon rollback, and supported UI implementation. Progress was then made on the overheat mechanic, improving ways to tune heat values. Moving forward, all energy weapons will have the potential to overheat. So Charge and Drain is basically what we've thought about for a long time, being able to take your weapon packs and then recharge them and then drain them and those sorts of things. I believe that's part of it, but it's also mostly for things like your tractor beam. Your tractor beam has a battery, and that battery will drain over time. And then you have to replace that battery with a new battery and possibly be able to recharge it, but we don't know that right now. Hence the charge. So it basically adds the current resource system to your weapons, to your energy weapons and energy tools. So tasks were also completed for light amplification, adding control hints to toggle it on or off supported scopes, while bugs were fixed for the fire extinguisher and quantum travel for server meshing. I'm guessing we're not going to see the new quantum travel for 4.0. Gameplay features continued improving control surfaces, addressing various tuning issues, while zero-G traversal markers were implemented. Oh, I believe zero-G traversal markers is how the AI is able to use zero-G, like AVA zero-G. Control surfaces, this is a big one. For the multifunction display, MFD rework, comms list, hail target, and comm call functionality were added. Work also began on weapon groups to allow players to switch between group presets. Oh, interesting. Last month, significant progress was made on jump points, with gameplay features providing design with the ability to define exit locations, which will also have a physical force to push players away from the exit. Players will now also get pulled into the tunnel one by one when making a jump. Improvements were also made to tunnel generation. For example, the team now has radio control over 8-way logic, better control point tension parameters, more accurate selection probability, and improved stability. The tunnels are less prone to self-intersection at corners too. Alongside this, updates were made to the jump UI, including icon and color changes, text fade in and out, contextual nav points, and generated heads-up display. HUD fade in and out depending on the approach angle. July also saw progress on engineering gameplay, including making fully distorted items consume resources despite not being functional. Support was also added for Master Modes too, with quantum drives now going fully offline in SMC mode and shields going offline in nav mode. I see what I'm saying. The stuff that works right now, the way it works is going to be different because like when they actually do engineering gameplay, it will do the full swap over. So your quantum drive will not be on while you are in nav, where you're in SMC. FCM, I think. That's a misspelling there, Xylo. I caught you. It's SCM, not SMC. Naughty, naughty. And yeah. The engineering screens in MFT progressed with tasks beginning on power presets and assignment UI. Life support and fuel information were added, while the power display was improved. Radar scan and scanning feature progressed, with gameplay features adding delta signatures to the HUD and the MFD, and moving the jammer from signature system to the radar component for easier integration with other systems. So that's another kind of interesting talk. Radar and scanning feature. Delta signatures. So delta typically indicates change. Does anybody have a reference to delta signatures? Because that may be a specific terminology that I'm not familiar with. So for me, just as a layman looking at that idea, it means change in signatures to the HUD and MFD, moving the jammer from the signature system to the radar component for easier integration with other systems. So there's going to be some sort of radar jammer as part of a radar component. So there's jamming and there's also changes in signatures. Okay. So you can see the differences in signatures. So like if you see a running hot Corsair, you might see the EM and the IR just go freaking through the roof. And then it suddenly turns off, and so suddenly those drop, and so the actual like blips on your radar might actually get smaller because the radar isn't actually radar. It's going to probably mimic radar, your scanning systems. And moving the jammer from the signature system to the radar component for easier integration with other systems. So I'm guessing you could also maybe jam signatures if you know where you're being scanned at. I think delta here means vector ships are moving. Could be that the changing movement. I was also thinking it may be the signatures in terms of just like the changes in its output. EM warfare, yeah. Yeah, this usually means to change, but the question is more, what is the delta signature they're talking about? Are we talking about the change in direction of an object or the change in the signatures themselves of like EM and IR? The jammer is neat though. That definitely seems more like a stealth gameplay. More information was added to the charge scan UI, including maximum held charge, a notification when attempting to scan during the cooldown, and fade out and collapse animations. The overall HUD was polished and decluttered too. For example, nameplates only show for targeted ships. Distance only appears for targeted and pinned ships. Target information shows for scanned targets, and how long the target information is shown was decreased. Very good. It seems like they're going to remove the clutter of scanning so that when you scan, if you have to target a ship to scan it. So maybe you scan out and you see the location, but then you have to target that said location, that said ship, even if it's a long way off, and then you can see all the information. So you might see blips on your scanning HUD, but you won't see like all of the names that clutter up the whole screen, which is nice. Audio signature emissions were added. Well, the devs began implementing FPS ping counterplay with players being detected and highlighted if they are FPS ping detected, ping depending on various factors. So that's the thing that they've showed off for Squadron, where there's a ping, like a scanning ping you can do in FPS, where you can see. It's basically like see through walls. It's a wall hack. But by doing so, you're going to let yourself up so other people can see you through walls as well. So it's a balance mechanic. It's like one ping, please. It's you're playing Hunt for Red October, but with ARs. New vehicle annunciator system was added, which supports power, weapons, thrusters, shields, proximity radar, quantum missiles, coolers, and shots. I'm guessing that's being able to like the bitching Betty, the sort of like vocalization of ships. Huh. Following last month's progress on the mission refactor, the team added the option to spawn objectives at random points near planets, both inside and outside the atmosphere. Alongside this, the ability to attach objectives to players was added. Contract generation was improved, and the new contract broker service was implemented. The latter was created by the online services team and enables full contract details and properties to be procedurally generated client-side from contract definition. That's the refactor that's going to be used for the what is it called? For the new server meshing systems. So sounds like it's a little bit more than just getting everything up to server meshing. Sounds like it's a little bit more detailed, but support was also given to actual missions, with various bugs being fixed and improvements being made on the back end of hauling contracts. Further support was given to Blockade Runner, while various issues of the UI were fixed. The contract manager's abandoned button behavior was extended to hauling missions too. Various updates were made for the upcoming cargo release. For example, they added search functionality to the item bank and a freight elevator kiosk, adjustments to auto-loading times based off of box size, and debugging functionality to the instance interior system. Bug fixing was also done for the cargo system, air traffic control, item bank, freight elevator kiosk, and cargo missions. That's pretty beefy there. Yeah, ship vocalizations. At least that's how I read it. Okay, so I'm not crazy when I say that, because I don't know what annunciator is. Economy. July saw the economy team progressing with their tasks for Pyro, including the Outer Rings. The Outer Rings. They also worked on refactor that will allow them to create and modify shops in a more scalable manner. For cargo, balancing was done to the price and time auto-loading to give players the choice between manually loading or paying for convenience and speed. A balance pass was also done on vehicle components, including new life support systems and jump drives. Finally, the devs continued to develop their understanding of player profiles to ensure that each career is profitable according to the long-term vision of the economy. In-game branding. In-game branding continued wrapping up tasks for jump points and Pyro system, polishing content and ensuring everything fits the environment. Mission design. Mission design continued working on unannounced content alongside a suite that uses individual features to create a complex form of repair missions. For the latter, mission design continued working on an unannounced content alongside a suite that uses individual features to create complex form of repair missions. For the latter, they identified key structures that would be used to ensure the location stays up and running and make them breakable. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, CIG, for several months now, the mission team has been playing with the idea of doing a reverse ship breaker game. So instead of breaking up and salvaging a hard space shipbreaker, instead of doing, breaking up and salvaging a ship, they'll take a ship that's mostly pieces, and you have to build those pieces and replace the parts for that ship as part of a mission. So it's kind of like building a ship with spare parts, which is what's been their kind of idea for running stuff. My guess is possibly for possible future prison missions as well as to give salvage yards some mission that kind of material as well. Using information gathered from cargo gameplay, work began on resource gathering. The current focus of is on mergent gameplay that pulls resources from the verse, starting with mining. For example, if a location requests a specific resource, a player can choose how to acquire it, be mining, buying, or piracy. Alongside this, progress was made on mission system refactor, which will change how missions are offered and future-proof the wider system. It also creates an opportunity to fix legacy issues and folder structures and reassess existing missions. They'll also be able to implement new features into the mission system to allow greater control and create a more MMO-style features and content. Please, oh God, don't give me fucking Kill 50 Boars, please. Annunciator is a gauge or a light on a console, usually like a labeled indicator. Like an overload warning indicator is an annunciator. Oh, so it's not like a vocal annunciator. Annunciator is like a button that tells you what's going on. Like, you know, warning, overheat, overload, you know, low, like below the deck or whatever, you know, like at the deck or whatever. So. Narrative, hey, my favorite. Narrative teams spent July continuing to support development for Alpha 4.0. This included a mixture of mission text, brainstorming ideas for additional mission content, and delving into some of the various locations being placed by the environment team and design teams. Narrative designers spent time overseeing the presence of social AI in various locations, making sure the areas were not only marked up correctly, but the general vibe and feeling of the area is accurately represented. An initiative was also started with the team to overhaul some of the social spaces to better reflect the intended tone of the location. On the Star Citizen 1.0 front, Narrative worked closely with design to define mission providers and aspects of reputation. Work also started on the initial scripting and development of additional location stories for players to discover. One of the biggest problems I've had with Narrative is that all of this stuff is great for writing, but we need talking. We need to be able to talk to mission givers and talk to people in locations and have people talk to each other, because that's going to add more life in the universe than just a really well-dressed set. But a variety of lore content was published in the website, including a pair of Whitley's guides with Vulcan and Carrick, as well as another batch of Galactopedia entries. Online technology. In July, the online services team collaborated intensely with the gameplay and UI teams to introduce a significant quality of life enhancement to freight kiosks, a search bar. This feature allows for quick item searches by name, improving the efficiency of locating items within large inventories. They also implemented optimizations to hangar and shard stow mechanics to prevent issues and facilitate recovery processes. The team, also working on potential mission and marker system features for Alpha 4.0, visited the Manchester studio, where they collaborated with the gameplay teams to ensure that the seamless integration of these upcoming features. In preparation for Alpha 4.0, online services began developing a new player trade service. This will enable players to transfer funds amongst themselves without being subject to the same game server's authority, paving the way for server meshing. Oh, so many people are going to be so upset, because they saw that last week or last month that they're working on player trade. Everyone's like, they're finally going to do player trade. It sounds like what it actually is just they're working on the system we currently have, but that works over an entire shard rather than just one server. Oh, so many people can be upset. Lastly, the team focused on bug fixes, stabilizing the Alpha 3.24 release, and finalizing social services refactor. This extensive project, which online services have been working on for the past few months, is now ready to go live, marking a significant milestone for the team. Social services? Does that sound? That sounds like no, that can't be org stuff, is it? It's gonna be like AI social services, right? Not org social services. Let me read that again. The team is focused on bug fixes, stabilizing Alpha 3.24 release, and finalizing the social services refactor. It's got to be friendship stuff. This extensive project, which online services have been working on for the past few months, is now ready to go live, making a significant milestone for everything. That's got to be it. It's got to be like a friend system overhaul. I'm not saying that's like Organizations 2.0, but I'm saying that sounds like they're fixing the friends system and the party system. So the Live Tools team worked on new core features for the Hex tool. The main goal of this is to provide better management of roles and permissions, streamline workflows between different tools, and enable the ability to perform bulk actions. The team is also improving other internal tools, such as error reporting pipeline with the implementation of new technical architecture. They're currently providing necessary support and maintenance to its users. I imagine that the social services refactor is because they wanted to make parties be able to function between servers. That's got to be it. That's not going to be like an overhaul. That's just got to be make the current system function between servers so that you can have a party and then you can be in different servers and you can still see your party members and know where they are. It's got to be it. I can't imagine there's new services. So yeah, no, I think that's just the social services refactor is for it to work between servers for server meshing. Also, so groups can enter hangars. Yeah. Team is also improving other internal tools such as error reporting pipeline, the implementation of new technical architecture. They're currently providing necessary support for maintenance of this users. Okay, we're almost done. UI. Last month, the UI designs and artists worked on in-game visuals and functionality for the Resource Network UI and completed the final polishing tasks for jump points. For vehicles, the team replaced the old Flash MFDs to set up new HUDs, resulting in a cleaner and less cluttered flight experience. The UI's team's tech programmers worked on performance improvements to speed up the frame rate on various parts of the UI. VFX. Finally, for July's report, the VFX team continued to support several effects-heavy features, including jump points and dynamic fire. They also continue to work on acidic caves and completed their task on the RSI Zeus and another unnamed vehicle. Tasks were also kicked off for 2 new weapons. All right. So what we've learned is that the mission systems and the social systems, which were both big, I think those were both in the monthly, not monthly reports, but the roadmap. I think both of those are probably done or close to being done. Not done. Done is not what I mean. Done is not, that does not mean it's ready to be released. It's more like it's waiting for players to test it, sort of thing. It sounds like they're wrapping up those items, so it's ready to go for 4.0. And then everything else seems to be focusing heavily on the engineering system. Lots of stuff on engineering. Lots of stuff on a lot of these back-end 4.0 preparations for things like missions and mission design and all sorts of things. The economy even. Yeah. The only thing that's kind of stood out to me was the radar and scanning stuff. Radar and scanning definitely seems like it's getting further along. I assume we're going to hear a lot about radar and scanning at CitizenCon because that is the perfect place to show off the new radar and scanning system. They teased it last CitizenCon, so it's definitely something they want to do. HUD reworks for the entire game, and AI to be a little bit better at kind of the sort of tactical stuff. Of course, 9 ships, including 2 Zeus models, or 2 Zeus versions and the Polaris, and then 3 unannounced vehicles, which were kind of working, I guess, in this is new milestones, so it could be anything. My guess is Gray Box, and then 3 new ships kicked off. So like 3 vehicles that are in Gray Box, 3 vehicles in a White Box, or with 2 new concepts. Oh, that's even more. It's like 11 ships there, so pretty big. But again, all of this is mostly focused 4.0, 1.0, or 3.24, 4.0, and 1.0. Those have been the main features. And I will say this was July. I do not expect much from the August or September monthly reports, because as we get closer to CitizenCon, CIG is going to keep a lot more stuff tighter to the chest because they want to show off all that cool stuff in October. And we'll probably won't get another monthly report until we'll get one for October. but it'll probably just mostly be CitizenCon stuff. And then they usually don't do one for November. They do November, December, and January all in one sort of pool in, well, usually it's November, December in January, if not November, December, and January in February. So, I do think that this does kind of point at the fact that 4.0 is still probably going to be, it's probably planned for CIG to release it before CitizenCon. And I still think that that's still the direction they're going to go, which, for clarification, I do not think that's necessarily a good thing. I'd much rather let it cook and then let it release when it's better. But CIG has marketing sort of promotions that they want to kind of work alongside that release. So it's definitely something they are going to be shooting for. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, watch the video that's up there. If you're watching this after the fact, where I talk about the roadmap update and how this means that 4.0 is probably coming out before CitizenCon. This just adds more to that, with the mission system refactor and the social system refactor being like worked on, if not done, in July. Yeah, I think they're shooting, they're pushing, you know, headlong into that reality. But as always, I want to hear your thoughts down below. Am I crazy? Am I just like ripping way too much hopium on this? Or do you see the patterns the way I do? Do you see the numbers, Mason? What do they mean? And as always, if you enjoyed this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when these release. And then you can join these wonderful folks trapped in my basement, in my chat, live at twitch.tv/theastropub, youtube.com/theastropub live on Thursdays, again at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. Love to have you here and hang out. But until then, like I always say, hope to see you someday in the black.